74% of Americans are overwhelmed with the amount of clutter that they have. Isn't that staggering? That's like every other person. 78% of people don't know what to do with the stuff that they have. I think that we can all agree that managing the excess that we have in our nation is truly an art, and we have to be so intentional. I have 5 tips to get you past the overwhelm and into motivation. Well, hi there. My name is Dawn. If we haven't met before, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a homeschooling mom, and a Jesus lover. I live in Minnesota with my husband, Ben, and our 3 kids between the ages of 10 and 13. I am so passionate about helping you to live intentionally, aligning your life with your values, and then you can experience deeper connections. When I was growing up, I would say that managing stuff was probably one of my mom's number one concerns. I have this absolutely vivid memory. I don't think we had a lot of people over. I look back and I'm thinking, I don't remember having friends over. And I honestly think it was probably that the house wasn't picked up. I think my mom really struggled with perfectionism and rigidity. But I remember that my mom would stuff everything in this little closet in the back of our hallway that we called the school closet. But I remember opening it up years later. All this stuff just came tumbling out. It was bags of mail. Mail was really hard for her. And I think this happened in a number of areas in the house. I can think of a couple other closets that would be like an avalanche if you open them up. And I truly think that my mom just got overwhelmed. She didn't know where to start. And for someone who kind of already struggled with breaking a project down into pieces, I think that she just literally became paralyzed by it. And then one thing led to another, and pretty soon we had a whole house full of stuff. And then we helped her move to her more recent home. And then it was another house full of stuff because she had never really been able to shift her mindset away from overwhelm and into empowerment. And that's what I hope to help you with today. So when we think about the mindset that gets overwhelmed, it's really an all or nothing mindset. It's a mindset that says, I have to get all of this done or it doesn't mean anything at all. We look at the whole project and we say, okay, there's no way I'm getting this done. Just even opening a bin feels impossible. It's very paralyzing when we get stuck into that rigid feeling. There's something that I want you to tell yourself when you're in that moment, whether you're starting a project or you're mid-project, or maybe you haven't even looked at the clutter in your closet. Decluttering and tackling this project and actually staying present in that moment is for you. This is how we get through. Maybe you guys have heard the old adage that the only way out is through. That is the case when it comes to conquering overwhelm with decluttering. In that moment, we have a decision to make. We can take the path that we normally take, right? This very well-formed path in our brain where we've decided, oh, this is too hard, and I avoid. Maybe it's I don't even know which closet to start with. I don't even know which shelf to start with. Maybe it's which room to start with because there's so much excess. I would say start with the low-hanging fruit. Start with something that's a pain point in your life, but that isn't completely paralyzing. So maybe that is a pile of mail in your mudroom. Maybe it is going through the shoes in your shoe bin and just eliminating the ones that you're not wearing right now. It really can be just a tiny thing, but in that moment, to say to yourself, the only way out is through. I need to learn how to do this differently so that I can overcome the overwhelm and I get to the reward, because this process is for you, ladies. It is for us. Once we are able to get into a flow with managing our things and living intentionally, we then have space in our heads, space in our hearts, space in our relationships, space in our physical space, obviously, where connection can be made. Bottom line is, you're going to have more peace and you're going to have more sanity, and you are worth it. When that negative mindset comes in and you think to yourself, I can never do this, I will never get this done, I want you to stop. I want you to take that thought and replace it with a different one of, I can do this with God's help, and this process is for me. And when I get through this, it's going to be worth it. This is when I feel like it's really important to have a super solid why. When we get overwhelmed, I think we lose touch with why are we doing this? And as we talked about, it's an investment in you. It's an investment in your relationships, your family, and your home. And ultimately, your peace and your peace of mind. So to ultimately remember that this process is for you and it's going to set you free. I think it can be so helpful too to really invite Jesus into this process with you. And you probably don't hear that from every decluttering person out there. But if you are a person of faith, I feel it can be so powerful to kind of do something practical and tangible to incorporate the Lord into your process. Reality is, He is with you. He is going through these bins with you. He knows everyone, and He knows who can use the things that you're choosing to release. He can direct these things as long as we are approaching it with an open hand. I think so often it can be so helpful to involve God when I'm trying to learn how to surrender. I want to learn how to surrender more deeply with my things. I want to hold things loosely, letting them pass freely through my hands into someone else's, because I want to be a blessing. I want to be able to trust that everything that I need, I will be able to obtain, and God will help me. Because I trust His heart on that, I can then release feelings of overwhelm that I'm alone. You are not alone. You have a shepherd, you have a friend, you have somebody who's with you all the time, who never takes a nap. And, He knows all of the things about how to declutter, how to sort. And I often will find myself just having sort of an ongoing conversation with Him as I begin of, Lord, show me what you want me to keep. Show me what you want me to let go of. God, give me a heart that's surrendered and totally in tune with your voice. All that I have is from you. I recognize that. And so let's go into this time as almost a time of worship and surrender, giving you everything that I can freely release and that you are leading me to. I often will just sense His presence in it, and I feel like He's giving me that release, that comfort, and just that companionship in the process. I want you to set a timer. I think anytime I'm overwhelmed, it's like I need to know, number one, that this is for me. Number two, I need to know that I'm not alone. So we've got those two down. And number three, I need to know that there's a start time and, most importantly, an ending time. It is so overwhelming to me if I think to myself, I've got to do this for 4 hours. I mean, that is so overwhelming. It's just so hard to commit to, and it is completely overwhelming to think of it in these large chunks of time. And so when we can let go of these huge obstacles of commitment, it helps us to feel less overwhelmed. So maybe you can't do 4 hours, but maybe you can do 4 15-minute increments throughout the week. I can do anything for 15 minutes. I always think about that during my workout when I'm in a plank and they're like, it's 10 seconds. I think to myself, I can do this for 10 seconds. I can do anything for 10 seconds. I can do anything for 15 minutes. And what's amazing is how much you can accomplish. Giving yourself that end point. Giving yourself the gift of a timer. Set it on your cell phone. Use a kitchen timer. Let it be accessible and easy, and let it be enough. Because starting and being consistent, like everything else, is probably going to move you further than doing 4-hour increments once a year. Right? So it's something that we can dip our toes into on a daily basis and sort of just ask Jesus, well, where do you want to work today? You might even find that you're having some fun. I would recommend that if 15 minutes even feels too long, just start with 5. Just start with 5. Just taking a few minutes to invest in your house, in yourself, in your sanity, you're worth it. You are worth those 5 minutes. You're worth those 10 minutes. You're worth 15 minutes. You are most definitely worth the 4 hours. But if you find that the time commitment is creating an obstacle that also leads to feelings of overwhelm, then we need to revamp how that looks. Think about the time frame that you're able to commit to, and then make a schedule. Put it on your calendar like an appointment. I know that sounds funny, but we do it with everything. We do it with the chiropractor and doctor visits and dental visits. Why not put it on the calendar for yourself? And honestly, when you have that written down, it creates a new pathway, right? It's very approachable. Oh, I can do that. I can do anything for just a few minutes. I can do anything for 15 minutes, especially when you know that it is connected to a life that you want. So much of what we do in life feels so far off, but really it's the incremental, tiny little steps that get us there on a consistent basis. I just love all those books about the brain that talk about the associations that we make. And so one powerful tip that I have for you is to associate your decluttering time with a positive sensation. I love to have a special drink. So for me, that is definitely my special coffee. I add collagen, I add some fun creamers, I do the whole thing. Sometimes I'll put a little truffle on it as well. I will just have this cute little thing, and it's like, oh, I look forward to this. I get my special coffee, my little chocolate, and it's almost like a spa vacation. So I want you to consider what would bring life to your soul. Maybe it's not coffee and a chocolate. Maybe it is even just giving yourself, when I'm finished with this, I'm going to call my friend. Or when I'm finished with this, I'm going to take a break and read a few pages of my favorite book. When I'm done with this 15 minutes, I'm going to take a walk and get myself out into the sunshine and celebrate that I got that 15 minutes in today. The point is we want to associate decluttering with positivity. So pick something that really resonates in your heart. I'm not even talking about like a big reward when you're done with that particular room or project. I'm talking about a daily practice, a consistent spot of joy where you can really just say, this is really fun. And again, invite God into that conversation. God, what is it that brings joy to my heart unlike anything else? I really feel that lastly, it is so important to do a lot of visualization about your finished product. I know it might sound a little hokey, but I am all about visualizing the end result, because without that finish line clearly defined in our mind, it can be so difficult to continue to have motivation and not to sink into overwhelm. So that picture of the finished product, it can be a visualization of the room when it's done. Think about that, or think about this storage room, having room to walk around with no bins on the floor. That's something I need to work on. I'm still working on my photo bins for the summer here. I keep visualizing my basement storage room free of junk. Oh, I can't wait. Really just having everything at my fingertips. Oh, that'll be glorious. So giving yourself that visualization also kind of contributes to that big why, that picture of why am I doing this? How do I push through these moments of anxiety or stuckness or paralyzation? This is how we do it. We get really grounded in why we're doing it and what it's going to bring to our life when it's done. I'm excited because you are going to have so much more joy and motivation. I can't wait for you to try these strategies and let me know which one glimmers for you the most.